Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and we're back for our total Warhammer 3 faction focus, looking at what the possible legendary lords and heroes that could be added to the different factions in the game. Obviously, there's been the roadmap recently released, Harry the Hammer as a legendary hero for Warriors of Chaos, and in the roadmap it did show several factions acquiring a legendary lord or hero, potentially with reworks as well. We're doing it in alphabetical order, and we're now on to the High Elves. Now, there's decades of lore around Warhammer. There's hundreds of names that you could pick out of stories that span the whole time frame of the what is now known as the Old World, right up to the end times. What I've tried to do is try to stick to those names that are either incredibly famous, even if they didn't get model or rules, but more likely and sticking to those that did have rules or a miniature that were in the latest army book release. We've seen in most cases that's what Creative Assembly has leaned towards, not in all cases, and in some cases creating whole new factions, so it doesn't limit them, but that definitely seems to be a certain driving force there. We've tried to narrow down the lists where appropriate to those that I personally think would be the most well known and would fit within the faction. Now, on the High Elves, I think the High Elves are in an excellent position right now. If I look at they've got 6 legendary lords. All bar one of them at the moment, I think, is in a great place. Tyrion, Alariel, and Alithanael, Theron Imric, all great lord choices and fun to play. Teclis, I think, needs a bit of work. He just doesn't feel like he's the uber powerful wizard I think he should be, and his starting position can be a bit rough. But as we can see, Tyrion, Teclis, Alariel, Alith, and Eltharin all were 8th edition lords. Imric wasn't in the 8th edition army book, but he did have a model in the past and had rules in the past, so no surprise there. So I don't even really think they need any additional lords to be added to the High Elves, if I'm honest. If you were going to look at 2 possible lords, well, you've got Belanir, who's the oldest living lore master. He's master of the Tower. So he's a long-time advisor to the Phoenix King. He's stated as second in power only to Teclis, but then the kind of thing you got Teclis already in the game. Could he be a faction leader for the Hoth faction? Yeah, I suppose, but I don't know. I'm just not sure I see Teclis's teacher in the game. If I had to pick one, well, I guess it would be Finubar. He is the current Phoenix King, known as the Seafarer. So maybe there's something in there again with a more nautical-based faction around, the Lothern Sea Guard and stuff like that. Maybe there's some additional, a couple of units that go in and around that, though. I have to say, overall, I was never a big fan of the Lothern Skycutter model that was brought into the game near the end. But maybe there's something in there if I had to pick one, but in reality, I'm just not sure the High Elves need another legendary lord. Though it's certainly possible. In terms of heroes, they don't currently have any legendary heroes, but there's 2 that stand out a lot here. You've got Corhill. He's the hunter captain of the White Lions. But the reason I haven't picked him as my choice to put in is you already have Alastair, who is... I haven't listed him as a legendary lord because he's not playable from the start, but he is kind of like the White Lion Lord, if you like. So I just don't really think Corhill needs to be in there when the other guy's already in the game and already leading a sort of a White Lion-based army. If I was going to pick anyone, I'm picking Caradrian, essentially... You could definitely see him giving some bonuses to things around Phoenix Guard or to Frostheart or Flamespire Phoenixes and stuff. So Caradrian would be my pick as a legendary hero, and I could definitely see him adding a slightly different dimension than Corhill around, like I say, Phoenix Guard and the Phoenixes themselves. So that would be my choice. Maybe there's some sort of a quest line in there around, the a Phoenix Shrine or something like that you might have to be able to get access to him, or something along those lines. I think could be interesting. But yeah, that's my take on the High Elves. Again, I think they're in a good position. It's pretty straightforward for me. They've got plenty of lords. They don't really need any more possible heroes. Corhill and Caradrian, they just stick out. They were both in the book. Both had rules. But Caradrian is the one that I would pick, I think, to add to the roster, that would give some slightly different slant on a particular army that he might be part of. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And if you disagree with what I've said here, or you think there's other lords or heroes that should be considered, then please let me know in the comments down below. We can have a good discussion on who and why you think they should be in the High Elf roster. If you want to see more content, please hit the subscribe button. It's free for you to do, but it means a lot for me, so I really do appreciate that. Thank you in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Owl, and I'll see you very soon.